destroying, the white supremacist capitalist machine. There's all kinds of reasons. Another thing, with music, it's funny because did a show opening for Public Enemy a couple of years ago, and we were all excited. And we went there because we had our, we always would videotape our shows. So we went there, and at the door, they wouldn't let us take our cameras in there. They wouldn't let anybody take a camera in there because it turned out that the venue was owned by this thing called Live Nation, which owns venues all over the country. And they videotape the shows so that they're the only ones that can sell the shows. And the reason they started running venues and the reason they started controlling the live shows was because records, CDs don't make money anymore. So all the money they were losing by, people being able to download shit for free, they were like, okay, we gotta get that money back somehow. So basically, they tell the artists, okay, in the past, the only way artists really made money was by performing and by selling, t-shirts or whatever. So now you have corporations like Live Nation that own venues. So if you're in a band or a group and you're looking for a gig, you have to perform at this Live Nation venue, and they take a cut of your performances. So now the money that they're not making off your CDs anymore, right, they're making off your live performances. Right. And then they also have what they call a 360 deal, so they also get a part of your merchandising. So, so basically you can't make any money anywhere unless you're outside, completely outside that system. So unless you're playing in the projects, or in the squads, or in legitimately alternative spaces, or in, community centers. The fact of the matter is, if you're playing in any of these venues that are owned by these corporations, you're gonna pay them. And you're gonna do a performance and you're gonna be like, yo, I can't even eat. And that's what they do. I mean, there's also been, there's been black-owned labels in the past. I was talking, to somebody yesterday about, of the Beatles' first single in the United States was put out by a black-owned label. As soon as the Beatles blew up here, the corporations got rid of that label. They just totally destroyed it. And that's what they've done. There's been artists that have created indie labels that were black-owned. And, but the corporations are like, no, we're gonna smother you. I always compare it to the Negro baseball leagues. The Negro baseball leagues was a thriving business. For years, there was asses in the stands, and players were getting paid. It was a big business. But the minute they came and said, okay, we want you to play for the major leagues, the Negro leagues just fucking disappeared. And so as Americans, we always feel this need to be a part of this system, rather than understanding that we got to just fucking destroy this system.
Okay,
we got to
so
get rid of it
let's talk
completely.
about that. Let's talk about it. Who doesn't want to talk about that? Because I'm ready to talk about that.
What, destroying the system?
Destroy the system. And I have people who, most people don't want to do that. They're comfortable. They like their laptops and their cell phones, and we're consumers. We've been conditioned to be consumers. And I have to admit, even myself, I'm 56 years old. What do I have to look forward to squatting somewhere? Which is where I'm headed, basically. But, in this kind of situation, I want to make a place for my grandson. That's my motivation. But what does that look like? Because I don't want to imitate this system. I don't want to, model myself after that. So I'm trying to find alternative ways,
Yeah,
I glean, I take walnuts from the trees and make dyes and do other things outside.
I think though, we have to create legitimate communities. I think a lot of times we talk about communities, but then we don't, in New York, I was, talking to people about actually getting together and buying buildings, and everybody was kind of looking at me like I was up to something, what's your, what are you trying to pull? What are you trying to pull? And I'm not trying to pull anything. One time I was trying to create a people's library, so it would be a free library, because we don't have archives for our stories, but everybody that I would ask, who I knew had access to space, and they'll be like, well, what's the point of that? It's not going to make any money. And I'm like, I don't want to make money. and they would, then, as soon as I said I don't wanna make money, they would look at, to me like I was trying to,
Right.
pull the banana in the tailpipe or something, But yeah, so the point being that I think we have to start seeing ourselves like real community again, and I think, within the African diasporic community here, we stopped really seeing ourselves as brothers and sisters. We call ourselves brothers and sisters, but we're not really there yet. And I think we got a lot of work to do to get there. And I think, the beauty of things like what happened in Ferguson with Mike was the fact that a lot of folks who previously were just trying to survive and trying to get by and maybe didn't even like each other were realizing, we are actually, like it or not, we are actually, a community under siege. And I think for the first time, a lot of people started realizing that. My cousin was killed in the '90s by police with an illegal chokehold. He was playing football with his brother in the street, and the football hit the police car. And the cop was like, "Oh, you better not play here." And they kept playing, and the cop illegally chokehold him. But the reason I bring that up is because that politicized a lot of us. And after that, I knew, I couldn't be fucking around anymore, and I couldn't be just, doing, art for art's sake and doing art to big myself up anymore. But I think a lot of times, what I like about, it happened in New York with my cousin, and it's happening in Ferguson, is that people are realizing that, Mike Brown is everybody's brother, regardless of whether you knew him or not, and I think that's something that got lost, and I'd like to feel like it's coming back, but I think until we start actually seeing ourselves as legitimate community and a community under siege, we're gonna continue to just try to find ways to be in the system and be part of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say straight up that I think that, like Prof was saying, is that more or less, is that the community at large has to feel that loss, that they're about to lose or they have lost something for them to just come out. And that's what you see in Ferguson, that's what you see in Baltimore or in New York or any of these cities, Cleveland today. And I think that's what's gonna make the difference, that we're dying. That is a naked example of us being killed out there. And when you have that fear of that kind of loss, that's when you jump up and say, okay, things are gonna have to change. That's how the system gets broken down, when people realize that it's not gonna sustain them.
Well,